Alright, Schlockmeister fans, a review from my previous channel. Tough Guys, Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster. Let's check it out. Some train robbers are being released from prison after 30 years. Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas.
You've got 2 men in a hurry to start their new lives, my friend. So if you don't mind, just open the gates. What the hell for? You're never gonna make it. That air is free. Who's this paper? Just wanted to see if I still had the touch. Complete mess. Why is that so?
Dana Carvey is Richie Evans, their probation officer.
Probation officer? You always be parolees at the prison gate?
Well, not ordinarily, but you guys are not ordinary parolees.
That's us, Fred.
Here's Eli Wallach.
I might be the guy who's been waiting 30 years just to blow your heads off!
Charles Durning is the cop who busted them 30 years ago. He's now doing desk jobs and he's not happy about it.
You are going to have to pay more attention if you want to learn how to do this properly.
At a bank, they actually foil a robbery.
Who's going to make me grandpa?
Let him go! So let him go! Because of your past relationship, you won't be allowed to associate.
He goes to a bar, an old bar he used to know. But the bar's changed a bit.
What? Shall we dance?
Eli Wallach confronts them again, but he doesn't see very well.
Come back, you bastards! Let's finish it once and for all!
They say their goodbyes and part ways since they can't associate with each other anymore.
Hello, Harry.
Harry's going to an old folks' home.
And me and the boys don't like this crud. We want real food. 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 Real.
Of course I do.
Archie gets a job, but he doesn't fare very well with the customers.
I guess I could.
Archie also meets a woman, a much younger woman, at the gym. Her name is Sky.
Yeah, I haven't been feeling too well lately.
It's a lie.
Harry meets Belle in the old folks' home, a woman from his past.
Well, I have a thing for old memories.
Perhaps you won't mind stepping out with an old memory like me.
Archie gets a new outfit to go out dancing with Sky. And goes to see a then unknown band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And both of them get laid.
Gotta go, Harry.
Archie quits a second job.
Here's your thread. It's about pump. H2O, madame.
Are you going to be here when I get back?
I don't think so.
Why?
This guy, you're a swell kid. I gotta start acting my age. Give us another one.
Durning confronts Harry.
He's a big-time sergeant now. I don't want to drink with you, Doyle. Besides, I'm on duty.
He's convinced they're gonna rob again, so he wants to bust them.
What the hell? Let's go back to doing something we really like doing. Like robbing and stealing.
So they decide to put the gang back together. That includes Billy Barty.
Bank.
Nice. You guys been inside?
Yeah.
But the gang ain't what they used to be.
Okay. There we go, baby. Oh, you got it. Thank you, Tits. You're not,
Eli Wallach
the difference between you and me is that my way is quick.
wants to kill Harry and Archie, so he's going to kidnap Richie.
Coat on. We're getting out of here. Jane Fonda.
Harry fakes a heart attack in front of a armored truck.
Start by giving me your gun.
So they get their truck.
And you said we couldn't do it, huh? Together we can do anything.
But the bad news is, it was already empty.
Roll the quarters. Read it, Harry?
They were about to get into a scuffle in front of the old folks' home.
Where'd you guys get this car?
You swiped it.
You swiped it?
Yeah.
As in stole it?
Serious.
He's going to get
He wants to rob the train again.
just like the old days.
You're gonna rob a train by yourself?
Not by myself. I'm getting a new partner. What's trouble, officer?
Train's being robbed.
You're crazy. Nobody robs trains anymore. I'd say you've been misinformed.
It's the last time this train's gonna move, so it's a big news story. Lots of reporters around.
This is nuts.
But they get interrupted by him.
Lose the iron, shitheads. Do you at least know Vinny Mendelman?
Yeah.
Thank God I know somebody. Vinny gave me 25 big ones to snap you guys.
And he's been dead since 1956.
Yeah?
And we've been in prison since 1956.
So I've been waiting since 1956 for you two guys to get out. Oh,
Eli Wallach switches sides when the cops show
I
up.
get 100 of those coppers.
There's only 50, Leo.
So? I'll shoot them all twice.
Somehow Richie got aboard and started the train.
Part of the team, aren't I?
You sure are, kid. I'm proud of you. Look at this. The Gold Coast Flyer.
They decide they don't need Eli Wallach anymore, though. They also ditch Richie so he doesn't get in trouble.
Remember, criminologist, not a criminal. Get in any trouble, tell them we kidnapped you. All the live long day, we've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away.
They close in on the Mexican border, and they don't stop. Even Charles Durning has switched sides. But here come the federales.
What kind of rules?
Well, for one thing, I'm coming on.
All right, let's talk about Tough Guys. Came out in 1986. It's a movie I had on a beta tape. I think I taped it off of cable back in the day. Saw it. Actually, I think I saw it several times actually back then. It was supposed to be a nice, fun, buddy comedy, but it kind of failed a little bit. It's got some heavy star power here, though. Burt Lancaster, Kirk Douglas, and Dana Carvey, who had not joined the SNL cast yet. I think he joined it the following year. But anyway, they play Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas, are Harry Doyle and Archie Long. They robbed this Pacific Gold Flyer, this train, in 1955, and they went to prison for 30 years. They got caught. Now they're getting out after 30 years, and they got to kind of conform to society, and they both have a hard time doing that. Harry's put into a retire home. Archie has to get a job. He's only 67, which I think he could retire by then. But anyway, he gets a few odd jobs, and neither one of them fit in very well. They're always having trouble. They're getting into fights, that sort of thing. They decide maybe we should just go back to what we do best, robbing and stealing. So they're going to rob a bank. That doesn't work out, but they end up robbing a armored truck. They steal the armored truck, but all they got was a roll of quarters. The money had already been unloaded. They decide to part ways after that because Archie wants to gets this idea, let's rob the train again. The train is actually in the news right now because it's going to have its last run before they officially retire it. Nobody robs trains anymore, of course, but nonetheless, they decide they're going to do it anyway. I don't know what their goal was really, because there's certainly not really money involved here, other than maybe just the glory of robbing a train. Well, Archie decides he'll do it on his own, but then, of course, Harry shows up at the last second to join him as well. So they take the train, they rob it, and they head to Mexico, which is where the tracks go to. Richie, Dana Carvey's character, he's their parole officer. He's kind of been fascinated by them the whole time. He kind of glorifies them a little bit. He wants to join them, so he somehow got on the train and was acting as the engineer. Meanwhile, there's a subplot here where Eli Wallach's character, Leon B. Little, has been trying to kill them since they got out. Turns out he was hired in 1956 or 1955 actually to kill them, but he never did it because they went to prison. So he's been waiting 30 years to get the job done, and he never welches on a job, even though the guy who hired him has been dead since 1956. Nonetheless, he gets on the train too, but then he kind of like sides with Harry and Archie and decides to help them against the cops. And they end up pushing him off the train at one point, and then they put Richie on one of the trains and they unhook the cars, and he's stuck on the other cars, and they say, you're not a criminal, you're a parole officer, a criminologist, just tell them we kidnapped you. So he's gone, and then they just head toward the border. Meanwhile, Charles Durning is the cop who busted them years earlier. He's been following them the whole movie, he's convinced they're going to commit crimes again, and of course he was right. He's in a helicopter following them. At the last second, he decides to change sides too, and he's all for them trying to get away. They end up crashing through the border and crossing the fence, and they end up in Mexico, where the Mexican federales come, and then they get into a scuffle with them as the movie ends. That's it. So anyway, Tough Guys. It's an okay film. It's an easy watch. It's a little long, though. It's like an hour and 46 minutes. It could have been maybe 10, 15 minutes shorter, but it's an easy watch. It's kind of fun to see these old guys doing what they're doing. Some of the jokes fall flat. It just is what it is. It wasn't the best film, but I was entertained by it on some level. A little bit of nudity in here. Even Kirk Douglas takes down his pants at one point and moons Charles Durning. And of course, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who became famous about 5 years after this movie came out and are now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There was an appearance pre-fame in this film, performing on stage as themselves. In fact, the girl in the movie says, "These are the Red Hot Chili Peppers." Cool. Anyway, that's it. Tough Guys. I had this on a PAL DVD because I needed it to upgrade from my beta movie that I had. Because I think 4 or 5 years ago, this was not available in this country, but now it is. Kino has gone ahead and put out a Blu-ray of this, so I have it. Check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about Tough Guys. Watch it. Bye.